All right, today on the SEO Leadership webinar, we are so excited to welcome Samy onto the SEO Leadership webinar today. Samy is great friends with Craig and Josh, so we are excited to finally bring Samy on to chat to him today. Samy is an SEO strategist, advisor, and founder of Samy SEO. He gathered an impressive following over on LinkedIn and covers topics within various aspects such as growth marketing facets, such as AI, automation, e-commerce, and web analytics. Samy currently has a free $100K SEO training guide over at his link in bio, so a little shout out there. And he has a few exciting projects coming out soon as well, which we are very excited to be speaking about today. So some big announcements. But yeah, Samy, thank you so much for joining. We are so excited to actually meet you. And how's your Friday going? How are you keeping?
Thank you so much for having me. Pretty stressed about this first webinar, but I'm so super excited. I feel the stress will dissipate with the call. But yeah, having a good Friday, and I hope you guys will get any value from this webinar.
Awesome. Samy, just to kick things off, I think if we can get into how did you get into SEO? What sort of sparked that little idea in your brain? And yeah, can you just take us through a little bit of your career progression up until now?
Sure. So I started basically in 2016 when I was still a student at uni. Initially, I was freelancing. I was doing website integration, bit of mostly WordPress tweaks, optimization, anything that client would come and ask. I didn't know anything at that stage, to be honest with you. I had a friend that was a developer. I used to study computer science prior to marketing. So I had some basics in programming. And I used that to get started bit by bit and to provide value to clients. But really, I had no idea what I was doing. I was basically Googling the stuff right after they were asking me, asking feedback from other friends with more experience, and just learning along the way. So this was the first stage. And progressively, clients were asking more than just website integration. And they were asking about rankings. They wanted traffic to the website once they had a website, which makes sense. And so I said, oh, this SEO thing, it's cool. And then I had also a class at uni around SEO, which was really basics. They're even still talking about meta keywords at that time. So it was not really so insightful. But that kind of allowed me to head me into the right direction. And bit by bit, more and more clients ask about SEO. I was still doing ads for a couple of years, and after 2 to 3 years, I was more focusing only on SEO and e-commerce, while still, running a bit of other things. I never just done SEO. I never just done one thing. I always kind of liked experimenting with other growth marketing facets or channels. I find that more interesting than just doing one thing.
Awesome. And when you would you advise to juniors to go about that similar route, or would you advise them to specifically go into maybe just a vertical and go into a niche and become specialized in that, or have like this all-rounded sort of perspective that you have?
Yeah, so I'm definitely all-rounded, more of a jack of all trades. Yeah, but I will not advise that nowadays. This worked 8 years ago, when I initially get started. Right now, the space is saturated. You cannot just be an SEO and a junior SEO and expect to get lots of new leads and clients on a regular basis. You're going to have to really niche down from the start, I think. So ideally, at first, I would recommend trying several niches, several aspects, see what do you like. You can either niche down by vertical, like you want to specialize, I don't know, SEO for real estate, finance, health, and just focus on this and become one of the top voice in this area. Or you can maybe do that within a subtopic of SEO. Initially, I love, for example, e-commerce SEO, technical SEO. I was focusing a bit more on those, and then bit by bit, integrated a bit more like content, link building, and the other approach. But I would definitely recommend to niche down in 2024 to be able to differentiate yourself and build an audience faster.
What sort of made you go into specifically e-commerce and tech SEO? Was there anything in particular that stood out to you?
Sorry?
Was there anything in those particular areas that stood out to you within e-commerce and tech SEO?
To choose e-commerce? Yeah, I mean, e-commerce was fun because you could directly see the impact on revenue. You could see, okay, I've got traffic, I could see results in revenue. With other kind of website, it's a bit harder, to be able to monitor the impact of your work. So to be able to see direct results so quickly was interesting to me, and also because my first role was a growth hacking role, And I was
Okay.
mostly doing SEO, but I was also doing so many things on the side, like email marketing, automation. And I kind of fell in love with that, being able to play with so many levers at the same time.
Yeah.
I really found that super interesting. So this is why I did a lot of e-commerce for a few years.
Awesome. I think that transitions nicely into like the bulk of what I actually wanted to cover today, which to you as well was just tips to juniors, as well as communication tips, especially when dealing with clients. Do you have any sort of advice to juniors in regards to communicating with clients?
Sure, most definitely. I have lots of advice. So
Yeah.
first, I would say the scope of the project needs to be super clear from the start. So what are you going to work on, and when does it end? Basically, when I initially started, I would continue working for free, sometimes for weeks after the project was supposed to be done, because I didn't set a specific scope, and I was not, I was scared of saying no. Okay, we're done now. We invoice and we go to the next project. So set clear expectation when this should be done, and then we move to the next project. And if you have clear expectation with clear communication at each stages, there shouldn't be any problem, unless you sometimes you're gonna find some painful clients, and it's totally normal. And then with more experience, you're gonna learn to filter them from the start. But you're gonna have painful clients. You won't be able to do much sometimes with them. You can just try to over communicate, do your best with them, and if it still doesn't work after a while and you've done your best, it's time to let them go. But yeah, communication, I would say you need to find the best way to communicate with the clients. What works best for you? Like, is it like emails only? Do you want to set up a weekly call and just have the same processes with everybody, so it's easier to track?
What can I ask? What's your sort of approach when dealing with clients?
Yeah, sure. So usually, initially, I go on an onboarding call. I always come with a mini audit. I never come empty-handed. So
Awesome.
I always have something prepared. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's just the first call, I'm not gonna come with like 5 pages of recommendations. Of course, I'm gonna have like 3
Yeah,
ideas
100%.
I'm gonna discuss and be like, okay, you could improve this and this. I already identified a few bottlenecks on your website, and this is what we can do. If it's later in the process, I will definitely come super prepared with presentation, tips, strategy if we are about to sign, and I really want them to sign at that stage. And then once we start working together, usually it's a weekly call, unless we're on a maintenance project. So it will be maybe every 2 weeks or once a month, sometimes even. So I just try to adapt to my clients' needs, and I just try to remain flexible overall.
Awesome. One more question before we move on to Robin. I know you have a question coming. In terms of client communication, we were speaking to Eric Hoover, who was on last week, about how to sort of keep your clients nurtured and up to date the most via you being the funnel. And yeah, I just wanted to ask, especially with you working within like AI automation, as well as with e-commerce and things like that, has AI and also the Google leaks that came out recently, has any of that affected or impacted your business? And how do you sort of keep your clients up to date, or most up to date, before they see things online and get freaked out?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, this has impacted somehow relationship with clients. I mean, clients still trust me, so they don't question my work, but they have more questions, I would say. Like, so what about this thing that I've seen? Or what about this? They say that authorship is more important. So they have more knowledge, so they might challenge you more, definitely. But if your strategy was already kind of aligned with the leaks, I think it's totally fine. And from my perspective, what I do is just to stay up to date. I follow the best in the industry, like Mark Williams Cook. I'm subscribed to the best newsletter too, and I just read every week. I don't have the time myself to kind of follow everything and have my own newsletter, so I just subscribe to the best SEOs in the industry, get the recap, and then share those information with my clients during the weekly calls.
Perfect. That's awesome. Yeah, go ahead, Robin. I know you have a question.
Awesome. So, Samy, just taking a brief look at your LinkedIn experience, you've done a lot in the SEO space, and I think you've sort of covered a lot of bases in terms of your experience. And along the way, I'm sure you've made a few mistakes as well. And I know that you're all for learning from your mistakes. So I think if you could just sum up maybe what were your most crucial mistakes, not in terms of the mistakes themselves, but what you learned from them and how that sort of bettered your SEO capabilities.
Sure. So definitely what I've learned is first in terms of communication, in terms of setting deadlines and clear expectation. This is something that I wish I've learned earlier. I wish also I've learned to ask help way earlier. Finding a mentor was definitely something that helped me a lot in the past, but I was way too shy just to ask people help. And I never really had an SEO manager that was an SEO guy, basically. So he was always like a CMO, but they didn't know SEO so much. So you always had to learn on your own. And I wish really that I was on LinkedIn earlier. I wish that I was in SEO community earlier. So my advice for everybody is like, get started as soon as possible. Start the conversation, DM people, go to networking events, find mentor, go on growth mentor, and you're going to learn like maybe 5 times faster. I'm not kidding. It's crazy the growth that you can have once you have people around you that support you, that can give you feedback and that can help you grow way more. Otherwise, I remember I used to get stuck on problems for weeks sometimes, and just try to research myself, but couldn't find the solutions. I would just be stuck, and it's not acceptable, and especially nowadays, like you can just ask help, and just reach out and try to do it as soon as possible and document your journey, I would say too, because that would help other people along the way.
Yeah, that's something that I've been pleasantly surprised by on LinkedIn. Is just the power of your network and the power of your peers. And I mean, people are very generous on LinkedIn with, sharing their tips and tricks and showing you mini tutorials on how to use certain tools. And I think, like you mentioned, just actually reaching out to people in the space and learning as much as we can from each other, it's super crucial to actually improve yourself. So yeah, great tip.
In terms of mentors, actually, interestingly enough, like a lot of the guests that we've brought on spoke about their previous managers who had mentored them up in becoming who they were in a managerial level. Did that happen to you as well, or did you have to actively go and outsource a mentor? How was your approach there?
So I had a mentor, my CMO. She didn't know anything about SEO, but she was a great mentor, the best mentor I could have. And at my first position, then actually, this is to come back to what you said about relationship. It's super important because she hired me again several times. She hired me again for another position at typing.com, full-time position there, and then as a freelancer another couple of times. And she mentored me more in terms of ethics, growth, and soft skills, all of that. And marketing in general, because she was great at marketing, but not for the SEO aspects. For the SEO aspects, I really had to go on growth mentors, find other people, and learn on my own too. I was a bit shy to use growth mentor fully. I think I reached out only 6 or 7 times to people. Every time I was so surprised. You're taking the time to talk to me for free? What?
Yeah.
But I wish I scaled that way more. I feel like I would have reached faster results this way. But without a mentor, it's going to be way harder. So guys, reach out to people, ask for help. It's totally okay.
I'm smiling so much because it transitioned so nicely into this next question, which is, do you, for any juniors that are looking for mentors, especially to outsource a mentor, what sort of factors would you tell them to look out for in a mentor to help them scale up, or strong factors within a mentor that they should look out for?
Well, definitely somebody that's already done it. You don't want somebody that's done it like dozens of times, hundreds of times, like especially what you're interested in. If it's technical SEO, you find somebody in technical SEO. If it's content, you really find somebody that's talking mostly about content. And be relentless. You really find the right people based also on your vibe. Like, you need to find somebody that you're happy working with and you're happy getting feedback from, and you're not like scared talking to. So it needs to be like there needs to be some kind of friendship, I would say, involved there. And just test, try out, talk to several people, see how it goes. Just start. My issue mostly was to start. It was not people. Once you get started, it's pretty easy. You talk to more people, and then you get going, and you just want to do more. Versus when you're stuck, you're scared of taking the first step, and you end up doing nothing. Which it's kind of what I was also doing with LinkedIn. LinkedIn, it took me maybe a couple of years to get started. I was thinking of posting on LinkedIn for a while. I was just adding people for a bit, reposting, sometimes liking, commenting, but I was never posting my own content. And after I just started, I was like, oh, okay, it's not that tricky. Especially if you can get some help too. I got help from Paolo Poli, a great LinkedIn mentor again. So this is how everything works. You need to get help from people with experience.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it can be so simple as, just interacting with someone and then first liking someone just as a person and then getting some sort of professional friendship going and then learning from each other. I think it's as simple as just saying hi and then, you nurture the relationship from there. But you mentioned that you had a mentor that taught you so much about ethics and soft skills, which soft skills are so, so important, especially in a technical sort of industry. And I don't know if you agree, but I think soft skills has been something that was lacking in a lot of people up until recently. And do you have any particular soft skills that you would deem super crucial in order to be a good SEO? And if so, what are they?
Yeah, I think you need to be able to communicate properly, because you're gonna talk with lots of stakeholders, right? And talk with content, with the devs probably, maybe with the C-levels, depending on your position, and you can't talk to them the same way. When I talk to them, I'm super technicals. We're gonna go in the code, in details, nitty-gritty, a bit nerdy, and they love it. Sure. I talk to content, I'm more like, okay, a bit more creative, search intent. I try to really match my tone. And then C-level is completely different. Revenue. How do they don't care about your vanity metrics, like, oh, 5% more impression there or 10% more traffic, whatever. Like, how is it tied to revenue, basically, at the end of the day?
How's it going to make me more money?
This is also one thing entrepreneurs, and something I realized early in my career. I remember, actually, it's a fun story. Going to see a client with a big increase in traffic. We're like, wow, look at that, month over month, 25% on this. And his reaction was priceless. Like, yeah, where's the extra money? I remember being like, what? I'm also in charge of this? For me, that was a revelation. At the time, I was like, what? I was like, oh, wow, conversion. So, okay, SEO conversion is also part of SEO. And then, okay, it's trickier. But yeah, I would say that communication in terms of soft skills, try to have some emotional intelligence, understand where other people come from. This is really, it's not just for SEO, at the end of the day, it's like for any position, I think it's super important. But in our area, maybe even more because we really talk to so many stakeholders.
Awesome. I think one more question just to slip in before we move on to what I really want to be speaking about, which is personal branding. Just on terms of the client side of things, tips for juniors in terms of onboarding clients. Do you have maybe just one specific tip that you could give through to them that's like a standout tip that you sort of consider crucial in your onboarding of clients?
Sure. So one thing right before the onboarding, one thing is that I never just send quote. I always send a quote with a call, or I send a video with it. I don't send like the quotation, the price, and like pay me. And then during onboarding, I try to set up all the processes as soon as possible and be super clear. All expectation, basically, what's the first month going to look like, second month, third month. Usually, I work with 3-month sprints, but I'm flexible, so I can do more. But I prefer not doing less. To give us enough time to get results. And so I try to be super clear with what's going to happen basically each week and what is expected after the 3 months. What are we going to start to see? Maybe some already boosted impression. We're going to be updating X amount of content, published X amount of new articles. I just want the client to have a great vision of what's going to happen and not just not know what's happening and just like every time having to ping me and everything. So just from the start, I would just want to set super clear expectation, know how the team is working, how are they working internally, who are the different stakeholders, and who do I have to talk to, and make everything super clear from the start.
Perfect. I love that. All right, moving on to the very exciting thing of personal branding. You mentioned briefly that you weren't posting that much and reposting a lot and just adding friends. How did you move from there to to your millions of followers now on LinkedIn? I see a lot of fans in the comments as well.
Yeah,
ask
I've
all of
got
them
the
to come
squad.
troll you. Yeah.
So basically, how did you unshy yourself?
Yeah.
All right. So to be 100% transparent with you guys in real, like I got some help again with to get started. I got help from Paolo Poli from the Media Engine. It's a friend that is a LinkedIn coach, and he is the only one I know that really knows how to craft content that gets you leads and that gets you engagement. And initially, it's with everything. You're scared because you've never done it. And you're like, oh yeah, there's those people that post me. I just interact with them. No, low key. And once you start doing it, it's like everything else. You're like, and you see that you start providing value. People interact with you. You start building relationship. It starts to be more fun for you too. And you're like, oh, there's no reason to be afraid of that. At the end of the day, and it's really exciting to be to be able to be a voice in the industry and be able to connect with other people. And yeah, without the help of Paulo, I think I probably be at the same stage, just like commenting from time to time. Guys, really, like once you start posting, the first week of posting, let's say after post, you start to see what's working, what's not working. You start to see people engaging with your content, and that gets you super thrilled. So I think the first step is just to do it. And if you have any doubt, reach out to somebody that's doing it, follow people that are already doing it, interact with their content first, and then maybe bit by bit you gain the confidence to do it yourself.
Cool. And I think this is sort of like a two-part question now. What got you to take that step into LinkedIn? Like, what was the thing that sold you into starting to take LinkedIn seriously? And how has it directly been benefiting your business now? I think, yeah.
Sure. So initially, I was doing it really passively for the last couple of years, LinkedIn. So this is how I found my job in crypto at KuCoin a couple of years ago. I got found because I was adding everybody, all the HR people in crypto, And so bit by bit, somebody found me. So I would say it's a passive way of doing it. I was not ready to post, but I was ready to take some actions. And then once I got ready, like in terms of results, it's been pretty wild. I've reached 1 million impressions in 5 months, more than 1,000 followers coming. So I already converted pretty well, like around 70 to 80% conversion rates when I talk to a client, if the project is really interesting. But now, since I started to post, like I had zero refusal, to be honest with you. It converts even better. People see that you have your personal brand. They see that you go an extra mile, that you have other skills too, not just SEO. So they value that a lot. Like, okay, wow. And maybe you can also promote their brands. I have secured some sponsorship deals too with LinkedIn. We can create additional revenue. And it can come super quickly. You just need to stay somehow consistent. I haven't been that consistent. I've taken so many breaks. Stopped. I think in total, I haven't posted for more than 6 weeks. Over 6 months of posting in total. So you can take breaks. Don't be too stressed. Just start doing it, and you'll get results pretty fast, I think.
Awesome. And yeah, that leads us into our next point of topic, which was the courses. You've got one course out at the moment, which is the $100,000 course that's out at the moment. It's a free training resource. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it will be coming this summer with a free module. It's just how basically to give you tips on just how to scale your career, find more clients, negotiate the salary from the start, because I've been through that a lot. Negotiate raises too, and also how to juggle, freelancing with having a full-time position, getting sponsorship deals. I'm sorry, it hasn't been out yet. I've put the banner a while ago, and for now, to be honest, just being clickbaity, collecting emails. Guys,
don't tell anyone. Yeah. Awesome. Oh, well, so when is that coming out? This summer?
This summer, back to school period, the latest, September, the latest. Okay, now nice. It's like, I've said it on the webinar.
You're putting pressure on yourselves. Awesome. I'm very excited to see that. What inspired the course to come out?
I mean, once you create an audience, it's next logical step to try to monetize. Sponsorship deals are great to do some revenue on the side, but if you want to really push the next step and get more money, basically, I just say, like, have a digital asset and sell it. The question for me was more into, should I have something cheap, start with something cheap, and something free, or just focus on a really big course that's going to be more premium. And it took me a while to decide, but at the end of the day, I think that it makes more sense to have something more affordable, especially for a first course. And also, this is why I offered the free first module.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Shreya,
exciting.
Sammy's giving the people what they want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've seen most of my posts are just sarcasm, and people want sarcasm. You know, the tip for personal branding, I would say, is like be authentic, and you know, most posts on LinkedIn is just graphs going up, some kind of case studies, kind of the same thing. It's cool, but it's kind of the same. So usually I try to add the humor, and it works great. The best is when you mix it up, like some humor with some real tips, and this way it's the best. And if you really want to have a complete strategy, I would say also add some personal stories. You can do that during the weekends, and more seriously during the week. Conor Gillivan does that amazingly. If you're in SEO space, you should follow him. He does really great things with that. And that's my advice on this.
Awesome. So I wanted to also chat about side projects, and if you possibly have any tips to juniors when they're getting started, especially when you mentioned, you know, you were doing those free projects for clients, or were doing work for free and things like that. Do you have any tips for juniors that are looking to sort of just build their experience and build their skill sets up, and how, if there's anything that they could look to get started on that?
Sure. I would say get started as soon as possible. I wish something again I started earlier, even if it's just the top, you're not sure about the topic, just start, and then you figure it out. You can pivot, change topic later. But at least if you started, you're always thinking about it. You're always in that mindset of growing it, improving. So I think it makes a big difference. And find a niche that you like, if possible, so you can really spend loads of time writing on something that you like. But you won't feel like much work. Otherwise, it's like a pain. In my case, I didn't really do that, to be honest with you. But I kind of did that for my former CMO. I was just so happy to work for her that working in any other in any niche was the same for me. Like tourism, whatever. I was like just so happy to work for her that I was doing personal. I was working on those personal projects for inside projects.
Awesome. I'm just going through our questions before we move on to the next topic to end off. Yeah, the comments. You've got fans, Samy. There was someone called Ricardo that was asking, just in regards to the personal branding stuff. He asked how many posts a week minimum to get the best results with personal branding. Is it really 3 times a day?
3 times a day? 3 times a week, you mean?
He's asking 3 times a day. So
3 times a day? No. I do not. I'm still learning, but I doubt that's 3 times a day, unless you're on Twitter too and posting everywhere. Right now, I'm posting around 4 times a week, I think, 4 to 5 times. Initially, I was posting 5 to 6 times, but it's not sustainable, especially if you want to answer comments and not just answer, okay, thanks. Then properly, it takes a while to answer comments. And one other thing to keep in mind is if you really want to maximize your engagement, you're going to have to engage with other people's posts on LinkedIn. So before posting my own content, I engage with other people, and then I keep engaging for another hour after it's live. Otherwise, I get really mediocre results. So you have to keep that in mind, and every time you have to do that, it's a lot of time to plan. So I would say, 3 times a week should be fine. Just find a pace that suits you and that you can stick with on the long term, instead of 5 times a week, then twice a week, then 3 times a week again. Just find something that suits you and stick with it.
I've noticed that even pages are doing this now. I know that SEMrush, I always see them pop up, not just their posts, but them commenting on other posts, and their name just keeps popping up at the top. And I thought that was actually quite interesting, that they've got someone dedicated to just engaging with other posts. But it definitely has power. Just to round off, I wanted to just ask one last question in regards to, you mentioned that you've helped hire freelancers before. We do have a lot of SEO freelancers that watch the webinar, or that are also following the page. Do you have any tips to them in terms of what stood out to you when hiring freelance SEOs that I guess helps them get their jobs? Yeah.
Sure. So usually I hire people that has really experience in the topic I'm looking at. So if it's something super technical, I really want the people to have the technical skills. Same for content or whatsoever. If not, in rare cases, it's true that I've hired freelancers with still some experience, but not expert level experience, because they had really the right mindset and they were super enthusiastic and they came over prepared. They came prepared with ideas, strategies, following up, always having a high energy, wanted to work with me. This made a big difference. So just being enthusiastic, prepared, coming prepared to all the meetings, following up every time, and trying to find a custom strategy to your clients, I think will make a difference. And then I would recommend trying to get reviews from your current clients too, trying to get and displaying them, and any reviews, any referrals you can get. That's going to help a lot too to convert new clients.
Awesome. Perfect. Samy, thank you so much for joining, and thank you to all your millions of fans that are in the comments as well.
Yeah. You've got someone asking you to be their mentor.
Yeah.
I've been so stressed. I was not even looking at the comments. Looking at
that. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out, if anyone's watching, that just again, if you want to go sign up for Samy's course that is going to come out in the summer, hopefully he has the link up on his profile, so you can go check that out and follow him for any updates. We will be releasing this webinar on YouTube and Spotify, as well as popping through a little newsletter. So if you guys want to check that out and listen back on this webinar, make some notes, you can do that. But yeah, thank you, Samy, so much for joining. Well done on your first webinar. And I hope you had a great time chatting to us. We enjoyed it so much. And yeah, have a great weekend further.
Thank you so much. It was lovely. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Great.